Welcome to my short video on stretching. This is what I do in order to prepare for the next 3 parts of my morning workout. It's really a combination of several different disciplines, but for me, a lot of it comes from the Qigong, a little bit from Falun Gong, a little bit from yoga, and others different disciplines on how to take care of your body. What you saw me doing initially was running my hands around in a circle in both directions around my danchen, my lower abdominal area where most of your energy is focused. Once that's done, I then go ahead and get my balance and put my feet around in circles, rotating them both directions 10 times. This is very difficult. When I first started with my left foot, I actually wasn't coordinated enough to make it go around in circles. It would kind of hang up. Now, a big part of this is balance, obviously. And it took me a while to get to be able to do these circles with my legs, letting your calf travel around as far as it can in all the directions. Yes, darn. You will lose your balance once in a while. In this case, I've gotten up to being able to do 10 of them normally in each direction. The idea is to be able to go around as far to the top, around to the back, around to the sides. First you do one foot, I do 10 each direction. When you're first starting out, you may not be able to do that and keep your balance. My hand is on the side of my leg. It's not supposed to be holding the leg up. I just use that as sort of a stabling, a little bit of stabilizer. What you're looking at here is trying to get your leg all the way out if you can. I find focusing in front of me on the ground is the best way to keep my balance. I focus about out just a little below where the top of my toes are going to reach. Around as much of a full circle as you can get, all the way back in. And then set back down again. The next step is into the hips. This, when I first started, there were some sore spots. Very sore spots. You try to work your hips around as far in each direction outward as possible and to roll them without hanging up. And occasionally you'll snag. I had scoliosis, a curvature of the spine, most of my life. This was never possible for some 50 years of my life. From the time I was about 3 years old to the time I was 52, my back used to give me all different kinds of hell. This, turning around like this, when you first do the first couple, if you got sore spots, you will feel them. Get over it. Try to work your way through it. If you can't go so far over at first, then don't go so far over. Just go as far as you can. The goal, ultimately, I have my thumbs right behind my waistline on my hip bone. And I'm using that to kind of steady as I go back and push my hips all the way forward. Stick them all the way out behind me, all the way as far as I can to each side, trying to bend over and stretch that lower lumbar area. Try to stretch those stomach muscles. Now, you notice I kind of put my hands together after each exercise. It's just sort of a marker. Now this one, you're actually pushing on your shoulder. You go back and then you push and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale. The idea is to stretch those waist muscles. Each time looking back, don't have to throw yourself hard. It's just a gentle push on the shoulder with your other hand behind you to cause you to go ahead and stretch that torso. I usually try to do 10 on each side. And pause. It feels so good when you're done. Take a moment to appreciate it. Now we go to the wrist. This is simply trying to turn your hand all the way around in a circle, and this works the upper forearm and stretches out those ligaments and tendons, and you'll find again, same thing, there's going to be sore spots or spots that don't want to do it when you first start. Don't worry about it, just keep working it, and you'll find even they work their way out. It's pretty incredible, but after a while you get even more flexible. Again, my left hand, when I started, I couldn't bend it that far in and out. You see, I'm trying to move my wrist all the way tight on the inside, all the way out flat as much as I can get. Now back around, other direction. You'll find this builds and coordinate and stretch all at the same time. Actually building muscles, because you don't use all these muscles all the time. Now we go over and we turn my arm outward and do circles with my arm. Now you see me turning my head. I've tried it both ways, keeping my head at one point and turning it. I find that it stretches more ligaments if I move my head in rotation. Now I'm switching the circle, pushing outward and back and out, trying to do a circle. Work my head around, because I find as I turn my head, it causes the stretch to be felt all the way over my other shoulder. The idea is to stretch these ligaments out and make them all work in all these positions so that you won't get stiff. You want that mobility. You want that flexibility. But you want to be able to move in all these places for as long as possible. At 60 years old, I'm hoping I can do this for another 20. So in the meantime, I'm taking care. Now back around. You can see me pulling all the way in, pulling, trying to do a full circle as I look around. And you can feel it as you're doing it, trust me. Back of your arms, your shoulders, they all get built up by doing these little stretches. Now I'm reaching over to work my shoulder sockets. It's very important as you get older to try to lubricate your shoulder sockets every day, because they don't do it naturally after about 40 years old, 45 years old. My father actually tore out both of his shoulders at about 55, and he told me that. Do not forget to lubricate them before you use them. This is how you lubricate them. Notice I went one direction, all the way across in front of me, working my way all the way over to get that shoulder to work all the way over to the back position, and then I switch directions. It's full range of motion on that shoulder. Some of you are going to have bursitis. I've had the shoulder in the pain in the shoulder right at the top. I've had to do this very slow for periods of time, many months, until that went away finally. Slowly but surely, it's an irritation of the bursa. Now in this case, I'm trying to get my shoulders to go all the way up to my ears and all the way down as low as I can put my hand. This really stretches out the neck muscles. In fact, you'll hear snapping and crackling and popping in my neck. I hear it in my head a little bit sometimes. All the way down, and I go this backwards with my hand and then forward. This one you can find you pull it up a lot higher for some reason. And I'm letting my elbow come up, but part of that is to be able to get full rotation all the way up into my neck tight, so I get those muscles to be able to contract. And then push them all the way down. Let's try to stretch them as much as I can. You're trying to kind of keep that other shoulder relatively level so the one shoulder is doing all the work. It's a little hard to do when you get into these extremes. Now, I didn't always start off with that much rotation. You can do smaller rotations, you can do less of them. But ultimately your goal is to be able to get that whole shoulder plate behind you to move around. That whole muscle complex that goes all the way up to your neck, into the back of your ear, and all the way down your arm to your fingertips. The further you stretch on that downstroke, the more you feel it. Remember, this is ideally the goal here is to move all the joints, lubricate them, and then reacquaint your mind with all these muscle groups that you rarely use otherwise. As we get older, if you let these muscle groups atrophy, that's how we hurt ourselves, because we reach over and grab something, and the muscle for that zone, that realm of movement, is practically atrophied from sitting around not using it, and therefore you have a weak spot, and if you try to use it and you're not strong enough, you'll strain it, and if you strain it, you get pain. Once you get that pain, if you start babying it and not stretching it out and not trying to build that muscle up later, then you're going to get a stiffness, and the stiffness is going to lead to what Looks like old age. This is tough. Now, after I've done my shoulders, I'm doing my neck. Now, yes, I am letting some of my body go, but that's because I'm trying to let my neck go all the way back. Open your mouth a little bit, and it makes it a little easier to make your neck go back. This hurts for me right now at the moment because I jammed my head a couple weeks ago, and the muscles on my left neck on the back hurt. And so when I first do this, the first couple times, it's, oh, I can't do this, can't do this. About the third or fourth time, not so much. And then the pain kind of goes away. And that's, I have so much pain chemical to put out of these spots, and then it stops. You tell yourself it's going to be okay. The first time I did it right there you go. And then you'll notice I can relax into it a little more until by the time I'm done, my head just rolls and I don't really feel any pain, and the muscle's nice and stretched, relaxed. I'm doing 10 of these rotations in each direction these days. You don't have to do 10. You can do 5. You can do 7. In fact, if you're first starting out, do 3. The idea is that you're exposing yourself to new movement, new flexibility, mobility, and you'd be amazed how many of these places on your body that you think just don't work anymore. Well, guess what? They can. So relaxing after that. Just makes you feel so good. Again, I'm moving my hands around my lower abdominal area, the Dan Chin, and this is a shutdown sort of from that series of exercises. I go from there into a little stretch. And this I've just started doing myself, but this is a stretch that works in all the different meridians as you stretch each area. And I'm still having trouble being balanced and coordinated when I go up, see, as you can tell. And so I'm learning again now, walking up high on my toes and stuff, to try to get coordinated enough to be able to go up and hold some of these stretch poses for longer periods of time. But this gives you all the different angles, the meridians you can do these stretches on in order to prepare your body for being able to do some of the other exercises ahead. So, I hope you enjoyed this little stretch routine. There's my little dance at the end for you. And this should be done generally before you do any of the other exercises that I've shown. Thank you for watching. I hope you have some inspiration for how to handle your 60s. Thank you very much.